promoting effective communications with the club's internal audience. And the goals: understand the elements of effective communication and apply effective communications to your Rotary leadership. And there is far more to this subject than we can possibly cover tonight. So we'll just try and do our best. And if you have any questions, please ask them. Or if you have additional things to add because of your experience, please feel free to jump in on it. So our first question is, what are some of the opportunities for a leader or a member of Rotary to communicate with others? So I'm looking for you to unmute and jump in and answer this really easy question.
Well, here's one of the things I was thinking about, because a lot of our clubs, we have quite a range in age, so there's going to be different communication means that is going to work for different folks. So I think we have to use the whole gambit. We have to use some email, we have to use some through the bulletins, do some through just word to mouth, and sometimes phone calls.
Okay, Tammy, I think you've covered it all right there, so we can end this session.
Good job, Tammy. No, that's Gail. Gail.
Okay, Gail, the silent one over there, because she doesn't have any job, what would she add?
Nothing.
Nothing. Get off the line.
That's Tammy.
Okay. Oh, Tammy.
I have never been called the silent one in my entire life.
Well, there's the first time for everything. Okay, anything else?
A few of us in Taos, when we have a new member, we'll make a point of taking that member out to lunch one-on-one and try to find out what his or her interest is, where they might fit into and assuming a responsibility at the club and a role right away, so they're not just sitting there moving their knife and fork for a year.
Right. Excellent. I mean, so there's just lots of opportunities available with the committees that you have, individual members, board meetings, etc. Okay. Now, the second question: what problems exist for effective communication?
One that we have is our current president, Mark Harrell, is very tech savvy and media savvy, and he communicates a lot by email. And the problem is with email, half the people don't read it.
Okay. Anybody else can add to that? What about personal distractions? That could be environmental distractions going on around you. They could be internal distractions, things that you're thinking about, trying to guess what the answer might be, so you're thinking ahead. Anything along that line?
I think those things always exist.
Yeah. And so there is a saying that sometimes you have to repeat things 7 times before they sink in. So repeating is not always a bad thing, and using the different methods to communicate, and also thinking about listening skills. And so with that, I want to show you something else for you to keep in mind. And we're just going to go over this briefly. And this is about our different kinds of behavior styles. So as you will see in the top left, there is the direct. And those people focus on the goals and the objectives, and they are very direct. They want to get to the point, get it done, get it said, and move on. and they move at a pretty fast pace. The one on the top right is the spirited. And they focus on opinions and inspiration. They like to be entertained, and they entertain. So they move along pretty fast, but they don't hurry the discussion, and they want everybody to share and be part of it. On the lower left is the systemic, and these are some of the people maybe that Yale was talking about. They're very technology savvy. They're very detail oriented. They want all of the information. I underline that word, all. And they will analyze it. And they're very traditional also. They look for the facts, not opinions. And then the lower right are the considerate. They focus on relationships. They're pretty laid back. They're very methodical. Last night at the end, we were starting to talk about the Myers-Briggs, and this is not the Myers-Briggs, but this is similar to a tool that I worked with called DISC, and there's only these 4. To me, it makes them easier to remember. And so everybody brings a different behavior style to the table. So the way they communicate and the way you need to communicate with them varies because of their style. And you may be able to flex from one to the other, but you probably have one that is most comfortable. So now I'm going to move down, and we're going to look at some of the trouble spots for each of them. The direct is definitely a poor listener because they've got their agenda. They're impatient, and a lot of times they're argumentative. The spirit, is that ringing a bell with somebody?
Yeah, some of these are touching home for us. So yeah.
Okay. The spirited, they don't hear the details, and these are the people that usually need a written backup because they won't hear it. Mm-hmm. They tend to exaggerate or embellish, and they generalize, and they can be somewhat dramatic. The systematic, they want too much detail, and they're not into personal disclosure. And when they speak, there isn't much fluctuation in their vocal tone. So they can be a little monotone, maybe not the best presenter. And the last one, the considerate, they definitely avoid conflict. They give in easily and oftentimes are upset with themselves later because they gave in to something they really didn't want to. They keep their opinions to themselves, but they overemphasize feelings. Yeah. So somebody, I don't know if that was Tammy, said that was hitting home.
Yes, ma'am. The direct. That would be me.
Okay.
Very much so. Thanks.
So the thing to remember when you're communicating with your club is your style and how you need to flex your style in order to address the rest of your members. And also to remember that other people, other members have different styles than yours, and you have to direct your communication accordingly. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
It does.
Okay. Any questions or comments on this?
Yes, ma'am. Mary, on the DISC, does it start, D is the direct, but is the spirited, the I?
Yes.
And then the considerate is S?
Yes.
And systematic is C. Okay, yeah, I've studied a lot of that too. So that's what I figured.
And that's what I worked with. And actually, the spirited and the considerate are both people oriented, and they want to be with people. And the direct and the systemic are not very people oriented, and they'd rather go off in the corner and be by themselves. So that's another feature of this to keep in mind. So if you can recognize a behavior style that might help you as far as finding committee heads. You know, we have a person in our club who is very systematic according to this chart. And so she's in charge of our calendar and dealing with that, and she does a great job. Okay, any other questions or comments?
Mary, are you going to provide a copy of this to us?
I wasn't, but I can.
I'm sure we can find stuff like this on the internet too, not a problem.
Yeah, I have your email, and if you would like it, just let me know and I can email you a copy of this.
Thank you, Mary. Appreciate it.
Okay, and you're Tammy?
No, that's Gail.
I'm
Oh,
Gail.
that's Gail. Okay, wait a minute. I'm gonna mark it. Okay, email.
You know, I love you guys in Clovis, but I feel like it's Manny, Mo, and Jack down there.
Mary, Mo, and Curly.
Okay, now let's see. We can go back.
So Mary, which one are you?
Yes?
Which one are you? As we listen to you present, what style are you?
Okay, hold on a second. It's like I can't do two things. I'm mostly the, what do they call it here? I'm an I, but yeah, the spirited, but I flex. I grew up in a family that likes the details, so I move over there, but when I put programs and things together, I always find a mistake later, which tells me, you know, that's not my most comfortable place. Mm-hmm. So my biggest flex is all on the right side. Mm-hmm. And that's the ideal, is you want to flex when you have to. But I can do the direct, but I'm certainly not the argumentative one. Okay. I find myself down in the bottom part because I don't like that. But if I have to do it, it's called, because I was in HR for a while, I take a deep breath and go, okay, and I do what I have to do, and then go, oh, that wasn't so bad. Excuse me. Okay, so all of those things are really important for us to bear in mind when we're communicating those behavior styles. So now the last question here is about written or oral communication. Sometimes it's too long or it's too short, and some of that is going to come into effect and tell you what someone's style is too. So I'm just working on another outside, if you can believe it, a project outside of Rotary, and it involves oral or written communication. And I had to send 2 pieces back to folks and ask them to edit it and cut it in half. So I can tell, I mean, I know them, so I know what their style is, but that just verifies what I'm thinking their style is. So what are some of the different ways that we can communicate with our members in the club?
During the meetings, it's pretty obvious, but.
Okay.
Well, this is Gail. In today's world, Facebook will hit some of your club, but again, there's still quite a few of the more mature of the members that don't get on Facebook or even know what it is, but yeah. Facebook would be another way to reach some. Okay. Thank you for being generous on the more mature. Well, Mary, because I'm right there with you. Oh, no. No, I'm getting to the point of being older than dirt. Okay. What are Yale mentioned emails.
Again, when you talk about emails, Mary, I think exactly the same thing you say about written communication is important. It has to be concise. One long run-on paragraph is the biggest turnoff there is on email. Keep it concise, make sure the topic line is relevant, and don't send too many emails. Okay, and this comes from a man who's an attorney. And attorneys are known for those long run-on sentences. Well, there was a man named Jerry Spence, who's a great trial lawyer, a little older than me, up in Wyoming, and he said if you can't tell a friend what your case is about in the time it takes to drink 1 cup of coffee, you're not ready to go to trial.
Oh,
That's a good
very
one.
good. And one of the important things in any of the written communication is make sure you reread it before you send it.
Especially if it's emotion laden.
Yeah, yeah.
And they
Okay.
can be interpreted so many ways, so make sure you think of that when you're sent, before you send it.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay, and as always, think about your audience, which goes back to the behavior styles. So now we have 2 things that we're going to do, and one is oral communication, and we're going to have 2 people together, and the aim is to have them come back and be able to do an introduction. And if you have your book, there's a couple of things in there about introduction that you want to just review very quickly to make sure you get the highlights, pull out the things that you think the audience is going to be interested in. And then the other group of 3 from Clovis will have you working together on the written communication. And there is an exercise in your book. It's insert CC3. It's a communications case study taking place in beautiful Kansas City, Missouri. So Jeff is going to do the assigning, and you will have about 8 minutes in your breakout session. So you're going to make the most use of your time, and then we're going to get back together and you'll be able to share your end result.
All right, real quickly, we did have someone join us. Thomas Newsom, can you hear us? Thomas, can you speak into your mic?
You think he joined us?
Thomas, one more time. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have Craig and Yale be together. And if Thomas can hear us, I'm going to put Thomas in a separate room with Jesse, and the 2 of them can do the introductions if Thomas is able to be part of this. Okay? So here we go. Wait one more second. Okay, here we go.
Can you turn it down a little bit?
Where are you sending me, Jeff?
You're going to stay in the main room with the Clovis folks, I believe.
Okay.
So you should, if you see something on your screen that says join, so the folks in Clovis, if you see something on your screen, go ahead and click join.
Nothing yet.
Oh, the Clovis people are going to stay where they are. So Bruce, you're actually, yeah, okay. And like John is joining us. Let me go ahead and assign John.
Hi, John.
Hi.
Is everybody gone? Jeff?
everyone is, John is with the Clovis folks. So let's have John work with the Clovis folks. And everyone else is gone.
Okay, so are they muted, or I just don't see anything going on there?
So, and Cheryl should be with you, Mary.
Mary's with Clovis still.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but you are a group
Okay.
I am a group with,
with Cheryl, Clovis, and John.
oh, okay, and you. Okay, so, all right. Some of it, you're getting into the details, but you're also getting into a very important part of this, which is defining what the roles are going to be.
That would probably need to be done ahead of time so that that could be on any promotional items that are put out, flyers, advertisements about the event, and all of that kind of thing.
A logistics
Yeah.
coordinator for on-site, who's going to set up the spelling, everything that is needed for
Right.
the spelling bee.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to insert something here that you have not mentioned by this word. It's a 4-letter word called "what is your goal?" And so when you're putting this stuff together, you want to be sure that your goal is clear. So everybody knows what they're working towards. What are you trying to accomplish?
Okay, great point. Thank you for that. So obviously a well-defined fundraising goal, so that dollar amount, but we would also need, well, obviously we have a goal for the number of teams. We need 10 teams, so we would have to talk about how many contacts it would take in order to come up with those 10 teams. What else?
Any judges?
So let's go back to, you're getting some written stuff together. So, and we know you're going to use Facebook. What are the other ways that you're going to communicate with the community about this literacy project?
Event page, Facebook event page.
Mm-hmm.
And you can share. So a Facebook event page is one of the things that we could do to get this information provided.
Mm-hmm. And if this is community, what about radio or TV?
Well, certainly if it applies in your market, if you feel like that's the way you get info out in your market, then absolutely, radio or TV or the newspaper.
Timer.
Time's up.
Our chamber sponsors a electronic newsletter, and it allows civic.
If you have a fundraiser or something that's going on, they'll put it up there. It might be up for a day. It might be up longer than that. So, that kind of board might be another way to communicate.
Good idea.
Yeah. I think there's always a ton of stuff out there that we don't think about because we don't think outside of the box much.
Mary, can I interject just for a second?
Yeah.
When Thomas Newsom joined, he was having some issues. He's worked them out, and Jesse and he are doing the oral exercise. We've still got about 10 minutes. Can they go maybe another 2 minutes, and then we'll reconvene?
Well, we're ready. I think we're ready. Are we ready, Mike?
If I understand the assignment and we just need to talk about it, then yes, I think we're ready.
Okay. But I'm going to give that other group a couple of minutes just because there was a lot of technology issues, and we'll still have time to do the report outs and then it's 6:50.
Okay. And so would somebody volunteer to report back to the whole group of all the different ways that you might communicate this event?
Mike?
Tammy will.
If you look at any company that's struggling, you'll find that one of those is not functioning.
One thing we didn't talk about is where they're going to have this spelling bee.
Lavinia. That's what I said. Logistics
Yeah, so we need a logistics coordinator. Tammy actually made that comment.
Sure.
We need someone on site the day of the event, making sure that everything has come together.
You're going to need audio, visual, and stuff like that. Probably.
Probably, yeah.
For sure, audio and
Yeah.
Well, and if it's a spelling bee, wouldn't that be, I mean, the TVs would get into that
Able to communicate like this.
somehow, it seems.
Yeah, so press release.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. And of course, you'd have all the schools in the school system. So there's another avenue of communicating and getting information out is through the school system and parents groups, etc. So, yeah, this would be a big one to tackle, but it wouldn't be the first.
So, Mary, I think everyone is back with you.
Okay. Okay, good. All right. So, how about if we have someone do that intro? Who's available to do that?
Are you talking about for the oral, Mary?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see, this is Jesse. Are you there? Let's see, it was Thomas, right?
He's muted. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So
We
let's,
had technology problems, but I think you can give it a shot, right?
yeah.
Sure. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I had the pleasure of meeting Jesse Allen. And so I introduced to you Jesse Allen. And Jesse Allen is a 25-plus year member of the West El Paso Rotary Club. And he has held each and every office in that club during his tenure there, as well as being the regional or the Rio Grande Academy coordinator. So he has coordinated this training session. His favorite thing about being a Rotarian is working and interacting with interesting people and great people. And if you notice in the picture of Jesse, when it's on your screen, there is a guitar in the background. And one of the interesting facts about Jesse is that not only is he a musician, but he also can make or build guitars. And as a young person, he had a dream of building guitars and playing music. And the guitar in the background in his picture from the video chat is actually a guitar he built while he was a student at the University of Texas El Paso. So I introduce to you Jesse Allen.
Thank you, Thomas. Now we just get Banjo Bruce and Jesse Allen together to do a little number for us. Okay, now the written part, I think.
We've got some more people that would like to introduce, I think.
Okay, you
We
want
have
to?
time. Either Yale or Craig, if you'd like to introduce one or the other.
Well, I'd like to introduce Craig, who may be a rarity. He's a native, a lifelong resident of Clayton, New Mexico. And maybe he'll tell us a little bit about life in Clayton, but also Craig has, he's a family man, he's married, he has 2 kids, he has grandchildren, 4 grandchildren, he's a fly fisherman, and he's a president of a bank. And you'll see that he has an excellent sense of humor, which makes communicating entertaining as well as informative. And Craig is going to talk to us today about the challenges of rural banking and how the economy is affected in North New Mexico.
Awesome.
Do we have time for Craig?
I don't know how much time we have.
We're okay, Mary.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Craig.
Well, thank you. Pleased to have the opportunity today to introduce Yale Jones. Yale is a retired attorney from San Francisco, and interestingly enough, he had never heard of Rotary before he moved to Taos. And when he moved here 11 years ago and retired, his next door neighbor told him about Rotary. He loves being part of Rotary. He loves to hike. He loves the service that he's been able to provide to his community. He's been very active in the Rotary Peace Action Group and attended a conference last week on that, and he's chairman of the Paul Harris Society. He's here today to talk to us about the Rotary Peace Action Group. So please welcome Yale Jones.
Yay! Wonderful. Okay, so we got everybody now?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, so now the group who was working on the written communications.
Yeah, I believe John was going to do the presentation on that.
And now we introduce to you John.
Yay.
Oh my.
Go for it, John.
John, you're the best.
My
I
word.
still feel like maybe I didn't understand the assignment, Mary. Maybe I'm slow. Was there a fifth description for a person? So I feel like I should be reading something that was really well put together. We had a brainstorming session around this idea of putting on a fundraising event to raise money for adult literacy in a community. And this event would, of course, have been the 10 four-person teams competing in a spelling bee. And so our brainstorming session led us to determine that in order to, before we could do any communication on this, we would have to do a lot of planning, which would involve setting goals, defining roles, and putting together promotional material and getting the information out about the event, going out and visiting businesses and looking for support in the way of sponsorship of the event. What else did we talk about, Gail?
Well, we talked a little bit about how we would communicate that out utilizing the Facebook, which we talked about creating an event page, but also utilizing other local organizations like the chamber or other clubs to disseminate that information to also get that out. Talked about utilizing reader boards, the electronic reader boards that businesses have to also share and get that information out. I know that one of the things that we need to talk about press releases, getting that out, but I think the critical thing that we talked about is making sure, like you said, that the roles and the policies and procedures are well laid out, and then identify that club lead to make sure that it all gets done. John, did that sound about right?
Yeah, that's good.
That's good.
He's saying he couldn't have done it better.
That's exactly right.
You're a good leader, John.
Awesome. So, as we can see, there is just a lot about communication. And again, we can't possibly cover it all, but it certainly raises your awareness to be cognizant of the importance and trying to think of all the different ways to communicate effectively with all of the members, taking into consideration their different behavior styles and using the different methods of communication. So are there any other questions or comments at this point? Well, I think that wraps this session up, and my congratulations to all of you. You did an awesome, awesome job. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary.
Thank you.